Becky Fish. We also have our product manager along to answer some questions. We will give you an overview. We have room for questions. We'll answer some as we go along, and we will follow up with you after the broadcast. It will be recorded, and we will get back to each of you if we don't address your question during the broadcast. We'll give you a brief Onset company overview. We're going to talk about the remote water level monitoring system. We've made it easier. Becky will be giving you a little bit more detail on that, along with our Bluetooth water level data logger. I'll give you some detail on the standalone USB water level data loggers that we've been using successfully for several years, and we'll have time for questions and answers. Onset has been making data loggers since 1981. We do have about 150 employees. We do have a global network of distributors and sell direct as well. We certainly have a website presence, application specialists, customer service reps, and tech support here on site in Cape Cod, Massachusetts. Our primary business, and actually sole business, is data logging and monitoring solutions. We cover weather stations, underwater data logging applications, and indoor energy monitoring applications as well. We are going to have a poll question for you, just to kind of get us up on the right track. We wanted to see what water level data loggers have you been using, or if this is your first time. So we'll wait a few minutes while you have a moment to answer the poll question. And I do think they'll be able to log in some questions as we go. Absolutely. So we'll address those again, and we're going to be fairly informal with this presentation today. Oh, it looks like we've got some questions answered. 54% of you are using HOBO water level data loggers. That's awesome. 20% some other HOBO water quality loggers. 24% other vendors water quality data loggers. 31% other data loggers, and 29% of you none yet. So that sounds like a pretty good mix, and I'm sure we'll get some interesting questions. And thank you for answering that. And we'll move on to the next slide. Becky, you are going to talk about the HOBO new remote water level monitoring system.
Yes, thank you very much, Eileen, and welcome everyone again. We're really excited about this new remote water level monitoring system. As a lot of you may be aware, in the past, we had partnered with a couple of vendors for their water level sensors, such as Measurement Specialties and Stevens, and supported those sensors with our RX3000 or U30 using the analog modules. But now we've actually formalized a partnership with Stevens where you can source everything from us. So, you know, it's one-stop shopping with Onset. We not only sell these, we'll be able to source the Stevens sensor for you along with the RX3000. Sorry, I've got to jump ahead a little bit here. Oh, sorry. That's okay. So we now can offer everything for you in one place, and we can source the Stevens sensor as well as the accessories for you along with the RX3000, so you now no longer need to purchase the sensor and the other accessories from a different vendor. For those of you who are not yet familiar with the RX3000, this is the current remote monitoring system that Onset offers. Some of you may have heard of the U30 data logger, which is what most of our weather stations and other remote systems were built upon up to a few years ago when we came out with the RX3000. I always refer to the RX3000 as a U30 on steroids. It definitely has some expanded features. It has more support for analog sensors in terms of the number of sensors it can support from both a powering and an analog output standpoint. It has an LCD display now for the setup information, which makes it easy for configuration, deployment, and checking status of the system. And again, real-time alarm notifications, real-time data delivery, and then as with the U30, it still has a rugged, durable housing as well. This is just a snapshot of the HOBOlink cloud interface. So again, for those of you who aren't familiar with our remote monitoring system, HOBOlink is our service cloud. It is hosted on Onset servers. It's a service that we support, access securely with user credentials. And as you can see here, we will show you the different sensors, including smart sensors that are HOBO proprietary, as well as analog third-party sensors by their name or serial number, depending on how you configure it. And then on the other side of the screen here, you see an example of the graph that we can derive from the data that's being collected. So it's a really user-friendly interface, easy to configure your logger remotely, and give you that remote visibility anywhere, anytime to the data. Now we get into a little bit about the Stevens water level sensor, so some of the main features of the sensor. Again, ruggedized housing, so it's pretty durable even in some of the more extreme environments. Very compact size, you can see the dimensions here. 4 to 20 milliamp output, so again, now with the RX3000, you can have up to 2 4-channel analog modules for a total of 8 analog channels. And the VIA module on the U30 would also support the sensor as well. I also want to mention here, unlike our other water level data loggers, which use non-vented technology, this sensor does have a vented cable. This gives you a little bit of an illustration as to how you're going to basically, I guess, measure or how you're going to consider the water level range. It's basically the distance above the sensor to where the water level is expected to reach. So that will give you an idea of how to gauge the depth that you need, as well as cable length for the sensor. So again, there are 2 parameters here that we would need to make sure you're knowledgeable of when ordering the sensor, and that is the depth that you need it calibrated for, as well as the cable length you need to deploy, or should I say mount the sensor. These are some of the accessories that you do need to include when purchasing the remote monitoring system with the Stevens transducer. There's a desiccant cartridge, and this one, we actually have identified one which will fit well into our system. If you're using multiple smart sensors, for instance, if you have a full weather station, or even just 2 or more additional smart sensors along with the Stevens water level transducer, you will want to use an SDX 6 box. And for those of you who are not familiar with this already, this is an external consolidator box that we offer, which will support up to 5 additional sensors, and that's added on to the existing 10 smart sensor inputs and 8 analog channels that the RX3000 will support. This box can also be used with the U30, so it gives you a maximum capacity for up to 15 smart sensors, and again, for the RX3000, up to 8 analog sensors. This is a snapshot from our website. Basically, it just shows you some of the pre-configured remote water level monitoring kits that we put together for you to make it really easy for you to just order everything you might need for particular applications. These kits are based on some of the more common applications that we see where water level is a significant measurement. However, you can order the transducer and all the accessories with the RX3000 and any other sensors. We can custom configure a system to match your specific application's needs. So these are just examples of some pre-configured kits that we offer, but we also can do a fully custom solution for you. And this gets into a little more detail about the custom solutions, which we have application specialists on hand to help go through with you to make sure you're not missing any necessary accessories. We offer a full range of mounting equipment, from tripod and mast alone to a complete kit with grounding accessories. We offer different options for powering the rechargeable battery in the RX3000, You can use an AC adapter or a 3-watt 6-watt solar panel. You really have everything you need to complete your remote water level and or a complete weather station system using the RX3000 if remote monitoring is the path that you choose to go. I'm hoping this is going to work for me, but want to bring you out to a couple of resources that we make available on our website. One of them is a link to the live data feed. We have a RX3000 here at Onset. We call it Lake Onset, and that is actually taking temperature, relative humidity, as well as water level and conductivity data. So this gives you an example of the live interface in HOBOlink. You can view the data, sort it on different time frames to see how the graphs vary over time. Look at the historical data. Again, you can come down here, look at your activity logs, configurations, and alarms, lake onset level over 1 day. This is going to show you how to export that file in Excel if you need to. Again, super flexible, user-friendly interface. Right now, the memory is set to wrap. You have the option to wrap when full of data or to just continue or just to stop logging as well. Another one that I want to point you to is a link to a training video that we have on our website. And I always say the good thing about Onset is that we offer so many different options in terms of products as well as resources. However, sometimes when you offer that many options, it then make it a little bit more challenging to locate exactly what you need. So just kind of to let you know what we have available and where to find a lot of these support materials. If you go to the resources tab on our website, this is where you can find white papers, schedule of webinars and other courses, podcasts, application stories, how-to videos. These are hosted by our very own product managers, self-guided trainings, and other pages. You can also go to the support site, and this is where you can find the knowledge base. A lot of users will post questions as well as their own experiences there, and you can sort the knowledge base based on keyword or term. There's manuals and all kinds of other resources located here as well. But this is a really great kind of self-guided training tour of the remote water level monitoring system and how it works. And that's actually not specific to just the Stevens sensor. It's basically talking about the RX3000 with Stevens sensor or any other similar analog water level transducer. And here are just some other links to other product web pages. We have a web page specifically for the Stevens sensor. We also have one for the pre-configured kits that you've already seen. And then obviously the web page for the RX3000 remote monitoring system. So I won't click on these now, but just so you know, we will have a recorded version of this webinar available to send to you after the fact. And if you need it, I can also send you a copy of the presentation. So these are just an example of some applications that we see very commonly used for water level monitoring. Everything from groundwater monitoring for watersheds, stormwater monitoring, wetlands monitoring, stream, you name it. I would say, I probably hear about a new application every single day. I've been here 4 years, and I've even been here 15 or 20? 19 years. So, honestly, there's a very large range of applications for water level. Here's another example looking at, again, groundwater changes and how and causes for sea level changes. Again, just pointing out a couple of examples of different applications we see for water level monitoring. Residential wells, tank levels, working with a fishery right now that's doing a lot of testing in different size tanks and need to monitor the levels across all of the tanks. Again, environmental impacts. Okay, we're going to do another poll question. Where do you plan to deploy water level loggers? So if you do have any new or upcoming applications, or you're just considering using water level loggers for an application, we're definitely interested to hear where you would need to deploy them. Okay, thank you. So it looks like the majority are for streams, rivers, and lakes. Sounds very typical in our experience, and the next highest response is for groundwater monitoring. Again, very, very typical and not surprised at all. A lot of wetlands, excellent, and then estuaries, certainly hear a lot about that as well. Bays, oceans too, yep, excellent. So I'm going to just jump for a moment from the remote monitoring system, the new offering, to the Bluetooth water level data logger. I know this may be redundant for some of you, but we just thought this is also an opportunity for us to do a quick recap of all the water level monitoring solutions we offer, in addition with the launch of the remote monitoring system. So for those of you who are not yet familiar, we did release this product just over a year ago, maybe almost 2 years now. Oh my gosh, the time has flown. The MX2001 uses Bluetooth low energy technology to communicate data to an iOS or Android mobile device. A lot of folks have asked about Bluetooth support on the desktop or laptop computer. We are looking at that, but it is currently supported on the iPhone, iPad, Android tablet or phone as well. This logger definitely has its sweet spot in applications where it may be challenging to get access to the logger so that you can manually attach a data shuttle to offload data. We also find that this is a very practical and efficient solution in many cases simply because you don't need to remove the logger from its mount to connect to a shuttle or a base station. You can leave it positioned where it has been so that you can ensure data consistency ongoing, not have to worry about remounting it in the exact same position every time so there's no variance of your ongoing data. Really fast and easy wireless offload. No need to remove the well cap. We offer a custom well cap that will fit on a 2-inch diameter well, and it has a hole so that the Bluetooth communication can get through from the logger to your device. This Bluetooth communication works within a 100-foot range. So again, it doesn't give you remote accessibility like the remote monitoring system or the RX3000 would, but it does definitely save a lot of time and a lot of logistical challenges because of that wireless offload. This just gives you a little bit of a visual. This is what the logger and direct read cable connected to the sensor look like. You have user replaceable batteries. No factory battery replacement required. The integrated barometric pressure sensor is now included in this logger, so you don't need that external source of barometric pressure data in order to get the barometric pressure compensation. The Bluetooth chip, so to speak, is also in the logger portion, which is mounted in, above ground. Mounting eyelet, so you can easily secure that to something. We have stainless steel or titanium models, just like with our U20 and U20L data loggers, so they are, they will withstand fresh and saltwater environments. Durable ceramic sensor, interchangeable cables. So this is also something that I didn't realize before we launched this product, but now I understand has become really convenient for users. A lot of folks just have intermittent applications where the actual deployment requirements or mounting requirements may vary a little bit, but they don't need to have multiple loggers deployed simultaneously. So they have that flexibility to be able to just change out the cable length. They just basically unscrew from each end on the logger and the transducer, and you can replace it with a different length cable if needed. Oops, sorry. So this is supported, the MX2001 is supported by the HOBO mobile app. And this just gives you a little illustration of how the logger would be mounted in a well. You have the well cap at the top of the well securing the logger in place, and the direct read cable connecting to the transducer, which is submerged in the water, reading that water level data. Again, Bluetooth Low Energy is also known as Bluetooth Smart technology. The mobile device will initiate the communication. You don't need to push a button on the logger or anything, as you would need to with classic Bluetooth. And 1-year battery life is typical. And basically any mobile device with Bluetooth 4.0 will support the BLE communication. HOBO Mobile runs on a range of iOS and Android devices. You can see some versions there, Bluetooth version 4.0, and it's a free download from the Apple App Store or Google Play. That gives you a little snapshot of what the screen looks like in HOBO Mobile for just giving you some other key specifications for the logger and the HOBO Mobile app. And this is a list of some advantages. We've seen many more than just a few listed here, but the main ones are time saving, other instruments or pumps in a well. A lot of times customers are struggling with cables getting intertwined and tangled when they're trying to retrieve the loggers, as well as contaminants in the well. Some compliance status that we offer for regulatory requirements with this data logger. And I'm going to take a break and turn this over to Eileen now, so she can talk a little bit about our U20 and U20L series of water level loggers. These are both tried and true proven technologies that we've offered for many years now. And again, depending on the application, these certainly have their place.
Thank you, Becky. Let's take a look at those next slide. The U20s are the stainless loggers, are what we came out with first. And I think in one of the previous pictures you saw what looked like a flood situation, and that was really the first use that I am aware of when we shipped 100 water level loggers as quickly as we could to New Orleans for Hurricane Rita. We came out with the polypropylene a couple years after that as a lower cost model. So on the stainless, freshwater, titanium for saltwater, these are really rugged. If they were frozen, it wouldn't damage the sensor. So really good performance. They're just about 1 inch in diameter. So for those of you that need to fit something actually in a 2-inch well, you could do that. It gives you enough room. And these water level loggers, the U20s, I'm going to jump ahead for a minute. They're about 1.25 inches in diameter, so a little bit bigger. But this has a pressure transducer inside and a temperature logger. So you're going to have temperature, pressure. In order to get to the water level readings, you will have another source for barometric pressure. It can be a weather station that's nearby, within 10 miles, we usually recommend, or you can have another one of the water level loggers itself in air nearby. Again, these are non-vented, so fully contained, waterproof, of course. What was nice about these, it was easy for you to deploy, no tubes to pull up, nothing to get tangled, withstand being frozen. They really are, they have a 5-year battery. It is factory replaceable. The software tells you when the battery needs to be replaced. One of the questions we do get a lot is, how cost effective is it to replace the battery? And it is worth your while. You can always call us to arrange that. And it's about a $200 battery replacement. But we resend you a logger that's recalibrated with a new battery. So it's a great choice if deploying a logger and doing the barometric compensation in the software. HOBOware Pro has a nice, easy, what we call a barometric data assistant in order for you to perform that. You're typically putting in your reference reading, the kind of water you're in, whether you're in fresh or salt water or brackish, and your barometric pressure reading. And the software does that compensation. So your data file is going to give you pressure, temperature, and water level to the hundredths of a foot. Here's a handy comparison chart. When we came out with the U20L, which is the polypropylene, it's a little bit thicker, as I mentioned. So that makes it have a little bit slower response time to temperature changes. And that would affect the accuracy very slightly, simply because your temperature isn't responding as quickly. But for most applications, we're finding people really do like this. It's a great cost-effective way of doing estuaries, groundwater wells. And the polypropylene is good in salt and fresh water. Again, it does meet CE requirements. Several different ranges. These you're going to choose based on the range you need to measure. So we have up to 100 feet in the plastic polypropylene models, up to 250 feet measurement range in the metal loggers. The shorter the range you're measuring, you have a slightly tighter accuracy. You do get a 3-point traceable certificate with every metal logger when we ship it to you. We don't provide the certification for the U20Ls, but they are all under warranty to be within their specs for 1 year. They both have a 5-year battery life. And we should address whether we have any questions. We can comment on. We're going to keep this conversational and casual. And again, I'm Eileen, and Becky was speaking earlier, and we have Inslee, our product marketing specialist, who helped get the one-stop shopping together. So let's take a look at some of the questions. Inslee, do you want to pop in with any questions that you're seeing that we can address? Or
yeah, so we've had a few questions. I've been answering them, and I'm not sure if you guys are able to see them. But some really good questions about, let me select you. The diameter of the Stevens sensor is 0.84 inches, which means it can be used within a 2-inch well or casing in the PVC well. Another question we received was about the kit and the 6-watt panel. On the basic kit, we only offer the 3-watt panel, but as I explained, when you add the kit to your cart on the eShop, then you are, then they're added as line items. So that's a way to modify what comes with that kit. It's not bundled, it's just mass dumped into your cart.
well, and as Becky mentioned, when you have an individual application, give us a call. We can help configure exactly what you need with the sensors you need, the cable lengths you need. So we're happy to help, and all of our contact information is available on the website.
I have a lot of questions coming in. I'm trying to answer them. How do data plans work for remote loggers?
Yep. So we offer a choice of data plans. They are based on whether you want to leverage an existing Ethernet, Wi-Fi, or cellular data service. And then the logger will be configured to leverage that service to push the data out to our HOBOlink service cloud, where you can then access it remotely. The data plans vary in price from free for a low-use Ethernet or Wi-Fi plan, on up to $150 for a low-use cellular plan, or $300 for a high-use cellular plan. And those are annual fees. That's really the only reoccurring cost for the system.
I have 2 questions that are related. I think this question is about the RX3000. The RX3000 does the RX3000 require a separate barometric pressure logger? And also another question that says, what is a vented cable? So both of those questions are kind of related. The RX3000 wouldn't be requiring a barometric pressure logger to get an accurate water level reading, because the SDX has a vented cable, and this means that the cable connects the sensor itself to atmospheric or barometric pressure, so there's no compensation needed as long as that venting tube is left clear and dry. Let's see what else. Are there any other questions? I'm looking through some here I can answer. individually.
And also, Edinsley's been answering some questions on the chat in the webinar as we've been going along, and we're going to definitely try to answer as many as we can until our time is up. Just wanted to let you know that if you have questions which may require a little bit more detailed answer, or we just don't have the time to get to them today during the webinar, we will definitely be following up with you to make sure that everyone has their questions answered. I want to thank those of you who have posted questions prior to the webinar. I did get in contact with some of you today. We were able to address a few of those as well.
All right, so there is another question. Are there any issues with the MX2001 when taking readings from a logger inside a manhole?
Yes. You probably need to be right above it. Bluetooth is not going to communicate through metal. So if you are using it underneath the metal, you'll probably have to stand right above it to communicate.
And I do know in some experiences there is literally a very, very small hole in a lot of manholes that construction workers or environmental people need to be able to connect some type of tool to in order to remove the cover. In a lot of cases, that really small hole is enough for the Bluetooth communication to get through. But if you have a case where it's, like Eileen said, a manhole cover that's just completely closed off, you are going to have a little bit more of a challenge with the Bluetooth communication, and you would want to be right above it.
But at least they still don't need to pull it up.
Right. You still don't need to pull the logger away from its mount. Exactly.
Okay, I have another question. It says, please define low use versus high use cellular plans.
Sure. So low use plan, the parameters for each of the plans really vary on whether you're using Ethernet or Wi-Fi versus cellular. But the variances would be the fastest logging interval allowed with each plan. So for Ethernet and Wi-Fi, a low-use plan would give you a fastest logging interval of every minute, whereas a high-use plan would give you a fastest interval of every second. With the cellular plans, the fastest logging interval is at just 1 minute for both low or high use. And if you want to see a more detailed description and comparison of the plans, actually, it's maybe a good time to jump out to the website. If I can figure out how to get out there. Let me go back to, here we go. If we go to the RX3000 page, there's a lot of great resources on here, and I'll point you to where you can see. Actually, I'll be able to just pull it up. Yeah, I was going to bring up the comparison summary. So this is going to do all the different data plans we offer, the prices, and the inclusions for each.
I have another good question while you're reading that is related. Yeah. A customer says that he's new to the RX3000, and if it fills up this data, can the user log in remotely, downloading the existing data, and clear the logger so that it can continue to record? I was halfway through answering. I think it's relevant to this too.
We're talking about the RX. Well, memory isn't an issue because it's going to continually update you. So part of that low use, high use plan, the low use is going to update you with new information every 4 hours. The high use, and we're talking cellular, is going to update you every 10 minutes. So it's never, because the data is being stored in HOBOlink and going to the cloud, running out of memory is not an issue. You have a 1-year plan. Every time while it's connected to the internet, you are going to be getting your data file completely. So no issues with memory on the RX using the internet.
And if you have a complete failure, outage, power outage, and for some reason you're not able to get to the data remotely, the data will still be stored in the memory. It's not downloadable with a USB cable, but we do have a method where you can work with technical support to offload the data, send us a batch file that they can then decrypt for you or unencrypt for you. It's a little bit of a process, and we really, I don't think we've even seen that happen yet in the many years that RX3000 has been shipping, because even in the case of a power outage, as soon as the service is back online, all of the data that has been collected that is stored in the memory is going to upload to HOBOlink again. So you're still going to see a time and date stamp for all of those logs, and you're going to have all the historical data. Just to show you, to Eileen's point, you don't have to worry about memory capacity because the data is stored in the cloud. However, that backup memory is 32 megabytes, and that will contain up to 2 million measurements. So in most cases, again, I think in all cases, it hasn't ever been an issue.
Yeah, the only thing we try to make sure of when you're considering an RX is just make sure you have internet connectivity when you are at your site. Okay, it looks like we had another question. Will it take an RS-232 or RS-422? No. You're communicating through the internet. The RX uses your internet cellular plan or Ethernet or Wi-Fi to get to the internet, and we're just providing you with the data, so you can't add those other inputs. We occasionally do get asked about SD, I think it's SDI 12, not at the moment either. So the communication is right now through Onset's web server to the internet, where you're managing your data to HOBOlink. We have some nice videos also on managing HOBOlink, where you can set up what we call data delivery. We've got a few training videos on that. From this screen, it's giving you a few screenshots, but as you dig deeper into the website, one of our technical people had done some great documented, here's how you set up data delivery. We've got some videos showing you how to work with HOBOlink, and it's a good, easy program. And you also have technical support available. If you don't need to get your IT people involved, and it's a fairly simple cellular setup, our tech support crew is available to help Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern Time.
And that is a free service. So if you own a HOBO product, you have access to technical support. This is just a page where you can see live data. A lot of these are customer systems. A couple of them are hosted here at Onset. We are always looking for customers to contribute data. We'll definitely work with you in terms of, discount offering on a data plan. If you are willing to let us post your data on our website, it's always, I think most interesting and productive for customers to be able to see what other customers are doing with the systems, compare applications, and how they want to view the data.
And again, don't hesitate to give us a call. We will be addressing any individual questions, and we can work with you to either know if it's the best system for you.
Let's go back to our contact, in case anyone wants to take down the contact information. Again, a recording will be made available. I can, Eileen or I can also send a copy of the presentation. Anything you need to know that you may think of after the webinar or didn't get a chance to address during this session, please get in touch with us.
I think we don't have any other questions. We're going to give you a minute to decide if you want to send an emergency question, or feel free to give us a call after the webinar or whenever it's convenient. We are also here 8 to 5 Monday through Friday, and happy to help. And thank you for participating in the water level remote monitoring webinar. If you have other particular applications for just water temperature, anything else you're thinking, well, I may want to data log this, I wonder if they have something, please do give us a call. We're always happy to help, and we may just have something. We have at least over 100 products and maybe more than that.
Yeah, and just to elaborate on Eileen's point there, the RX3000 with its analog support capability, we have customers using this to support third-party conductivity sensors, third-party dissolved oxygen and pH, as well as turbidity sensors, snow depth sensors. So we really run into very few applications where we can't, we can't support it with the RX3000 remote monitoring system. So again, any more information they might be interested in, just get in touch. And thank you so much, everyone, for participating today. We really do appreciate it.
Thanks.
So someone asked, they have the, sorry, one last question. I don't know what over here. They have the onset rain gauge with the pendant logger inside of it, and they're looking to see if